And welcome, everybody. We are live with Pontiac Power Hour. This is episode 39. That's right, 39 episodes of this crazy live show all about Pontiac and history. And I am Buff from Buff's Garage. And next to me, where are you? There you are.
Yeah, I'm on this. I'm on this side. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody knows me, I think.
Yeah.
Ray, Punisher Lamont's Garage.
Yeah. That's it. That's who it is.
Or the second Buff's Garage. I don't know.
I take, all the help I can get lately.
I'm having an identity crisis tonight.
Well, I don't even know where I'm going to live. I'm trying to move. I'm trying to stay. I don't know. But I appreciate everybody watching the videos lately. It has really been doing well. So I'm excited about that. And that's going to help me with my car issues that I'm dealing with. But
well, if you park your van beside your RV and put a tarp over it, you could have a double wide.
I could just put all my cars under there, but then they want a fence now. So I guess I'd have to get a big enough tarp that I put all the cars under it and then fence around it.
Yeah, you just need to move.
I think I'm just going to have to move.
I think you move closer to me. That would be better.
What do you guys think? Think I should move closer to Ray? Closer to my YouTube friends? Because right now, Dalton's almost, almost 2 hours, about an hour and 45 minutes away. You're over 2 hours, about 2.5 hours. I got, Chad, Square Body Stuff. He's like 4.5 hours away. It just seems like I need to move that way, just a little closer to all my people.
Yeah.
I don't know. Plus, I want to be in a community that supports the car culture, supports, transportation culture in general. Definitely has, some leniency with having vehicles, out of the, I guess, garage, maybe in the yard, maybe in the backyard. I don't know. I don't know. But you guys can help me out by helping me find a place to move.
Well, I still have the smash bourbon in my side yard, which the wife is not happy about.
See, I think that's worse than, the city enforcement is you got, the boss is telling you, get it out of the yard.
Yeah, she's like, got all the doors taken off. I parted it out. She goes,
right.
When is that leaving?
Yeah, well, does it run?
No, I sold the motor. I have the transmission out of it. So.
All right. Because I have a 2005 Suburban that has a lot of good parts left, but I'm going to pull the drivetrain. And I was thinking, maybe I move somewhere where there's a lake and then I can have a launch vehicle, but that one wouldn't work. I could always use the all-wheel drive Trans Am when it's done, and it can launch boats. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But let's look in the chat here.
Yeah.
Who do we got? We got Hunter from Sand Mountain Ballistics in the house. ASO is here. Cousin Mike from Landon Custom Classics. And they're all saying hi to each other. So let's scroll down a little bit, see who else we got. Look at that. Big Block 402 in the house. And Two Babe Jenkins. Man, I haven't seen him in a couple days. He's trying to talk me into moving closer to him. And if you guys haven't seen it, Clint Street Machine put out a Move to Tennessee video just for me. And what I want to put out to you guys, not to hijack Pontiac Power Hour for my own, promotion here, but if you guys think I should move near you, then make a video and pitch it to me. Tag me in it, and I'll share it. And we'll put the best videos together, and we'll see who wins, who gets me closest to where they want me to be. I love that Clint did that, and I encourage you all to do it. Sell me on where you're at, because at this point, it's not going to be here. Kansas just is not supportive of a person like me with this many videos, this many vehicles. Um, they want me to get a dealer's license. They want me to get a commercial property. I'm just going to leave because they already taxed me till I'm poor. So I'm going to move somewhere that maybe is a little more lenient and more supportive of the culture. And I will be honest, Poppy's Patina, who just sponsored the 63 Grand Prix, you're going to see that soon. They're trying to talk me into moving to Oklahoma. So that's a pretty good sales pitch. You guys tell me. All right, Danny Boyd's in the house. Fox can fix it. Rods and streetcars, welcome to the show. Get a barge and float your cars on the river. The problem is I would pick the barge because of just who I am. I'd pick the barge that's leaking and everything would sink. I don't pick the best stuff. We know this already. 6% recycled. I plugged him in the last video because he sent me some really cool stuff, including a poster. And it just so happens I found that exact car at a garage sale. So I wanted to shout out to him. 47, welcome. Wolfpack Garage is here. More Hunter. Hunter, you're kind of dominating, buddy. But if you didn't know, Hunter just graduated. So congratulations, Hunter.
Yeah, congratulations, Hunter.
We now have an adult Pontiac guy, another one in the world. So he is full on Pontiac adult in the world. Now let's see what he does with it. Arrowhead Garage, I saw a great Route 66 video he put out. So if you guys didn't know, we're doing Route 66 history tonight, including a little Pontiac stuff. Jason Garage, he's here. GTO Speed Channel, we know who that guy is. He's got some cool stuff. Scarlet Four-Eyed Cuda made it in. Tony's Hot Rod Garage. JB's Little Shop. So somewhere along here, we better see some Lars.
Oh, yeah.
Ron's here. Ron English is here. Mohawk 62 made it in. I'm trying to get through everybody, so if I missed you, I apologize. All right, move to that abandoned salvage yard in Norman, Oklahoma. It'll come with a free van. Now, see, another plug for Oklahoma. All right, I might go do a video down there. It's going to take a few days because I got to drive down. And if I can do a video without getting like a rabid dog like eating me, I might put that out on the channel. Who else? Let's see.
Hunter, I did get your invite, buddy. I was going to make a video, but I've just been busy. Sorry.
Oh, yes. I got to tell you, I had some allergies, man. When I got an invite to Hunter's graduation, I mean, I had to take a little Benadryl because my allergies were acting up. I really appreciate it, buddy. Kids, yes. Full-time, no. So I can be mobile. Thank you for asking, Arrowhead. No wife. There's just too much headache in that.
That position is currently open.
Well, let's put it this way. I'm always looking for the future Mrs. X Buffington.
Always looking for your next ex-wife, huh?
That's basically where we're at. Okay. Lars, where are you, buddy? Did he sneak in? Did I miss him?
I haven't seen him.
He's going to come up and get us in the tail. It's going to happen. He's going to sneak in here. Arrowhead says not accepting resumes. Well, I mean, they're already dropping them in. It's just a matter of just, not looking at them. Oh, thanks, Tim. Tim Windsor's here. That's right. Give some love and support. We appreciate it. Tony Napoli. I hope I said that correct. We love you. Thanks for coming into the chat. All right. If I miss somebody, we will catch you up. Let's see. 4 years of welding? Ah. Maybe he wants to help with the roll cage and the turbo kit.
There you go.
But we are going to get the van going turbo as long as I don't blow the transmission. And I'm still working on the supercharged Grand Prix. I'm about to do the Poppy's Patina on my 63 Grand Prix. And then we still have the all-wheel drive Trans Am that I got to get going. So there's plenty to work on.
So I may or may not be doing some supercharger upgrades for that to that Fiero guy's supercharge.
Going with the power pulley?
Oh no, I ported it.
Oh.
Stay tuned, folks. It's about to get interesting.
No doubt. And aren't you going to put a 3800 supercharged in your other little special car?
Yeah, the Latrona Spitfire. So it's gonna it's gonna be Pontiac powered.
Pontiac powered Triumph Spitfire. Now, yeah. Babe, you are correct. 4.3 liter V6 with a turbo. I think I sent you that picture, didn't I?
I mean, there was a little truck that came out factory that had one, and it was pretty wild. So, I mean.
But I can't afford that.
Well, no. So a van version of it would be pretty cool.
I think that would be pretty cool as long as the transmission holds out. Wait, what is that? That's not it. What is that? Well, somewhere I have a picture of a turbo that is currently in the area that has been delivered and may or may not. There it is. May or may not be prepped and ready. Just got to put all the other goodies in there.
All right.
If the transmission holds out.
So the transmission is not going to hold out. I can guarantee you that.
All right, guys. So I'm looking for somebody, not JB, that can help me build a 700 R4 transmission. Love you. I love you, JB. But you and Lars have had so many problems with that transmission.
You don't want to sleep underneath your van?
I might. I mean, I slept under the 63 Grand Prix, so I don't see why I couldn't. I'd rather sleep in the van. It's got the fold down bed. It's just more comfortable.
So I got some exciting stuff going on.
Tell me all about it.
The Punisher Lamont's Garage is now sponsored by QA1 Suspension.
Woo!
We're going to have some cool stuff coming out pretty soon. I ordered a bunch of stuff and haven't gotten it yet, but got that. And then I got my rest of my parts, transmission, trans brake. And big shout out to Jeff Rowe from Two Hacks. He got me a deal on a shifter, so I got a real badass shifter. So car's coming together. It'll be slaying Dodges before you know it.
No doubt. And if you guys want to see that, you got to go to his channel, watch all those videos, click the likes, make a comment. You got to feed the algorithm. It wants to see you watch the whole video. It wants to see you like it. It wants to see you comment. And I'm not trying to just feed the machine here. Ray's got good stuff. He's got cool cars. We know that. Go out and watch the stuff. And the answer to Tony's Hot Rod Garage, how much power are we going to put through the 700? All of it.
Yes, all of it.
We're going to spin all of the juices in that transmission until they blow out the sides. And yes, TH350 is better, Turbo 400 is better, but 700 R4 is what's in it, and I like to use what I got. Do I think I could have them build me a bulletproof 700 R4? Yeah, sure. And if I had $2,500 laying around, I wouldn't have bought an $800 van.
So the 700 R4 is actually a pretty tough transmission. People give them a bad rap, but
it's just my overdrive that's acting up. Everything else is solid right now.
You know, you throw a Corvette servos in it, and you know, upgraded pump and all that stuff, and man, they
right there.
They can be a really good transmission. I had one behind as was it a ZZ3 crate motor in my C10.
Right.
I mean,
they'll hold up. Yeah, they'll hold up a lot. But right there, Tony's Hot Rod Garage. He's got one that'll take 800 plus. I don't need it to do 800 plus. 400's probably plenty because I'm guessing the turbo on that 4.3 is not going to pump out enough boost to really get it much over that 300 mark. I don't know. I'm not gonna, put it on the dyno before or after. It's just not gonna happen. But we'll figure it out.
So the Punisher car should be somewhere between 8 and 900 when it goes to no name, just so everybody knows.
Because it was like in the 600-700 ballpark.
Correct.
All right, guys, the contender to watch out for is Punisher Le Mans. Tony K, welcome, buddy. I got to get back over to his place. I got some cars to make run. And hey, Jay, I might need to make a trip to see you once I have another vehicle running so I can pull the trans out of Vantana at some point, preferably before I blow it up. We could probably work out a deal. I need to go to Illinois anyway, and I got to veer off towards Iowa. Dudes with Wrenches is going to hook up, and we're going to look at van wheels.
I'm just saying that Jeffro from Two Hacks is in Illinois too.
I just might want to go hang out on his pallet bar that he's got out back. It looks like a lot of fun.
He does have quite the setup there.
Colleen Tebow, welcome to the show. Renegade's Garage, I'm sorry I might have missed you, but we see you in the house. I don't think I missed anyone else. I got Tony. But hey, we should probably talk a little bit about the history of Route 66, but with a Pontiac twist. Yeah, you've got it on your... I don't have it behind me, but I do have it downstairs. I've got Route 66 everywhere downstairs. Tony's telling me how to build this. All right, Tony, my email, but you can also catch me on Facebook Messenger, Instagram Messenger. Heck, I even have Snapchat. And what's that other one? TikTok. I'm on all of those. Send me all you got. And if I don't answer right away, it's just because I'm overwhelmed with all the information. But I think we can do a few little tweaks and make the 700 R4 last just that much longer. And then after that, we'll, go full bore on it.
Just in case anybody's curious about Route 66, I actually have a video. You'll have to dig through a little, where I cruised down part of Route 66 and videoed it. A little town called Galena, Kansas, which is where the idea for the movie Cars came from.
And Mater had, I remember growing up as a kid, driving through Galena, Kansas, and there was a truck that sat there on the corner in Galena. And John Lasseter said that truck was his inspiration for Mater. And I remember every day or every time we drove past that in Galena, Kansas, that truck sat there. And when Cars came out, I went, I know that truck, because he looks so similar.
So that whole town now has got the whole Cars vibe. It's really cool. It was a dying mining town, and they kind of embraced the whole Cars thing, and they're starting to fix it up. So it's kind of cool because it's only like 10 miles from me. So
it's really, it's a neat little town. It's got a nice little, downtown area with the storefronts and the whole thing. They have a pretty good car show there too.
So for those of you that don't know, the song Route 6 actually says Joplin, Missouri in it, which is where I live.
You know what it doesn't say? Burlington, Kansas, because it's not here, which is why I don't want to be here. I feel like there is not enough Route 66. Ain't nothing against the Tennessee boys. You guys make a really good sales pitch. But there's enough Route 66 that I could find myself planted somewhere along there and probably turn out all right. But Tennessee's not off the table.
So me and Buff actually cruised down part of Route 66 in the Punisher car on that Hot Rod 100 cruise. And that was pretty cool to be on Route 66 with 300 classic cars. It's just a cool feeling.
And both of us have those videos out. So if you go back to our channels after the show, you can go watch those videos. Because I think, nothing's cooler than seeing all the cars. And then, of course, maybe some burnouts in Mexico while we were there.
Yeah. Who knew Mexico was right off of Route 66?
Isn't there a Mexico, Missouri?
There is.
There's got to be. All right. So let's kind of get into this, guys. I'm passionate about Route 66. I know Ray is too. most of you guys are as well. And I just took a trip last year on Route 66. It's that big of a deal to me. And I know that there are parts of Route 66 that have long been forgotten, already bulldozed over, and yeah, whatever. But it's still alive. And what I love to see is those local communities that used to be a part of Route 66 trying to bring themselves back. Hey, look who snuck in. Hammer Wrench Renovations. I always like a good tappy tap.
That is one of the coolest names, I think.
Yep. I've used a hammer as a wrench, and I've used a wrench as a hammer. Because why go get the hammer when you have something else that's heavy and metal right next to you?
You know what? Everything's a hammer when it's near me. I don't care.
Yep. I may or may not have used an iPhone before, and I won't admit it under oath, but I'm sure it happened.
Hey, if you got an old Nokia phone, they would make a sledgehammer.
Yeah, you could beat the crud out of those. All right, so I don't know how many of you guys actually know how Route 66 started. I mean, we all know that there was some transportation stuff going on, and the government was trying to push some agendas and get some money out there and kind of push infrastructure projects and that kind of thing. But what I didn't understand was exactly what was the catalyst for getting it going. Oh, look at Danny Boyd. He used a screwdriver as a hammer on a clothes dryer. I mean, whatever works. Danny Boyd, you are not incorrect. That is Danny Boyd. He should be doing this show. The guy knows. So that's right. In 1857, Congress commissioned Lieutenant Edward Fitzgerald Beale to chart out a wagon road. He was following the 35th parallel from Fort Defiance, close to the New Mexico-Arizona border, to the Colorado River. And his job was to establish a military transportation and communication link. And part of that was they spent, and this is 1857, they spent $200,000 to basically create what Beale called the Great Immigrant Road to California, westward expansion, trying to push everybody out west. And with people finding gold and other sources of income out there, there was this mindset that now that we have a road to get there, people are going to go. So that was clear back in 1857. And without Lieutenant Beale charting that out and getting that laid out, we wouldn't have what we would call today's version of Route 66 at all. Oh, look at this.
Oh,
hey,
boy.
So I want to address Colleen's comment. If you've ever worked on something and didn't have a part left over, are you a real mechanic?
I got a whole drawer full of parts, and most of mine are intentional because I know better than the engineer, and it should have never had that bolt in the first place.
I usually have a few laying around, and I put them in one drawer in my toolbox, and those are called keepers. And someday I'm going to use them, and someday I do. And that'll be the day that I found the one I needed, but not the other three to accompany it. So I had the one, though.
Well, that's see, right. I just scrapped out that Suburban, and I kept all the bolts that came out of it. So
those are great parts because you're not going to find those at the hardware store. And you don't want to pay what those cost to buy new.
I have a whole bucket of parts or bolts and stuff that you never know. Every once in a while I'll purge them, but.
All right, Hammer Wrench. That's another good name. Hacksmith. That's a good one.
I like it.
All right, let's go back to old Lieutenant Beale. So this guy, he is in good with Lincoln and then all the government officials after that. He comes in there. He's a U.S. Navy lieutenant, He gets bumped right up to the Surveyor General of California and Nevada. He's a superintendent of Indian Affairs for California and Nevada. He created the Beals Wagon Road, which is what we talked about. It's a forerunner for Route 66. And he was even the ambassador to Austria and Hungary. Like, who is this dude? And he just got out there and did all this stuff out west. But he actually had a house. I'm not even kidding. He had a house right across the street from the White House in D.C. Everybody said he threw the biggest parties in D.C. And of course, then he also had his place out west. These guys are fixing stuff in the chat. I'm proud of you guys. Keep it up. All right, so let's see. All right, after Beale came up with this wagon trail, the interest in a route out west resurfaced under the National Old Trails Road movement. And this is when people started getting their vehicles. They're starting to go past the buggies, you know, and they're actually getting cars and they want to go west with them. Of course, there's not a lot of infrastructure to support it. So they're kind of pushing to get this ocean to ocean roadway going. And so by 1915, as justification for federal subsidies, they're trying to come up with a way to put in a paved transcontinental highway when most of the United States is literal wagon trails, dirt trails, mud roads. They're going, we're going to be smart about this and we're going to put in paved roads. Like, it was unheard of. So they decided it was going to start out in Baltimore, Washington, D.C., and then terminate in San Diego on the West Coast. And that was their big push. They're going coast to coast. And we know where it actually starts now, so it's kind of interesting to see how they thought it was going to go versus how it ended up. But, you know, they were just, the whole point of this group was the National Old Trails Road movement was to just get federal aid to kind of push highway policy and get things rolling. So by 1921, the Federal Aid Highway Act decided that they were going to, again, 1921, they're going to spend 2.5 million, or sorry, they're going to build 2.5 million miles with all the 10.5% of them all surfaced roads, either of pavement, brick, or concrete, which is a pretty good start. And the whole idea was this was going to be the precursor to a later, larger project to build an interstate system throughout the United States.
And which is pretty wild if you think about it.
Right.
Then, I mean,
like, they just had cars gaining popularity. People were just really getting into purchasing more and more because it was not the everyman car yet. We're talking early Ford times when he was trying to make the car available to everybody. It's just not quite there yet. Did I lose you? Did I lose me? Mm-hmm. Later, Hammer Wrench. Okay. So I think I lost Ray, but we'll keep going. Mohawk is correct. It starts in Chicago. Thank you, Colleen. I was worried because I lost Ray. I couldn't hear him. And it looks like I lost him below too. So hopefully he pops back in. But I can hear myself, so I feel like we're still good. All right, back to the history. So, as you guys have already figured out, it does not start on the East Coast. It starts in the Midwest-ish in the People's Republic of Illinois. And with that, there was a bunch of folks that was trying to push this from a political standpoint, specifically in the communities of Springfield, Missouri, and Oklahoma. And in Oklahoma, there was a couple of pretty well-to-do dudes that had decided they were going to push this all the way up the chain and try to get something going. Now, what's interesting is Governor William J. Fields of Kentucky was upset that there were no routes ending in 0 that passed through his state. And so he kind of did some back end stuff to persuade some federal officials to assign the number 60 to a highway between Newport News, Virginia, and Springfield, Missouri. And then the highway between Chicago and Los Angeles was going to be designated as US 62. And the Missouri State Highway Commission chief, he said, well, wait a minute, they only want the Route 60 coming into Missouri. They don't want the 62. So they basically negotiated on the back end. And what happened was this Missouri State Highway Commission chief said, 66 is kind of catchy. And he went ahead and telegrammed and said, we would like, and that's a copy of the telegram right there. And he basically said, we're going to go with 66. He wanted 60 and he fought really hard for 60. But he said, we'll go with 66 because nobody else is going to want it. And believe it or not, with that telegram right there, that was the birth on November 11th, 1926, the official birth date of US Highway 66. They decided, yep, that's what we're going to call it. And with that, all the later connections joined in and became part of the 66. Well, he's here. Are you here?
I think so.
Okay. All right.
I apologize, everybody. My internet crashed, and it may do it again. They've been working on doing some underground cable, and since they started doing that, our internet sucks.
They may or may not have cut a fiber cable. I don't know. I will tell you guys, when I start going mobile, it's going to happen. I can't guarantee the internet. I'll do my best, though. So here's the fun part. And for me, the fun part of Route 66. Yeah, he was hungry. Yep. He went and got him some food.
Unfortunately,
I hope your dinner was good while you were gone. But if you go back and look at what Route 66 was supposed to do, it was supposed to, not what interstates do now, not supposed to bypass towns to get from point A to point B as quick as possible. It was supposed to interconnect towns and bring people through the gaps between the towns and then into the downtown area or whatever part of town it rolled through to connect them to businesses, lodging, fuel, railroad stops, like everything along the way. It was supposed to connect each one together. And of course, interstates don't do that now. That's why you have your town and your road is far away with a bypass, and then your gas station's way out there with it. But people forget to go through the towns and see them. So for me, when I take my Route 66 trip, I try to go through the towns if possible. And here lately, I've been visiting Missouri. I've been visiting Oklahoma and even into Arkansas, which doesn't have Route 66, but I've been going through there. And what I can tell you is I try to always go through the main streets. It's a lot of fun. You see a lot of history. I saw the original Walmart, the Sam Walton's whatever, 5 and Dime. You don't see that on the interstate. You have to actually go downtown to see it. But fast forward, so you got a public road planners, and they are trying to get this Route 66 thing going. They're really churning on it, and again, trying to interconnect all the small towns with one major roadway going through it. By 1907, Oklahoma achieved statehood, but before 1926, this Cyrus Avery gentleman had a hometown in Tulsa. They had very few improved roads. So in those days, driving 103 miles of dirt roads from Tulsa, Oklahoma. It took him 6 hours. And he's like, nope, we don't want this. So he went through the effort to try to get some support to basically get them a route from Tulsa to Oklahoma that's not dirt and mud. He wanted to get an actual paved road through there. And you also have to look out west, because we've talked about New Mexico, Arizona, California, Nevada. Well, I guess Nevada's just shy of Route 66. But when you're out that way, most of those roads were open desert. And most of the people that lived there didn't even use the roads that were available. They just drove across the desert. So if they're not even using the roads that are already there, why would they spend the money to build another road when these people are literally going from point A to point B, just hopping across the desert? So basically what they did in Arizona, the roads were unimproved, except if you consider removing boulders from the road that, might cause a problem with cars. Other than that, they just kind of, this is the path has less rocks than on either side of it. And that's what they considered their main thoroughfare. So that's what I'm trying to get at, is they're connecting towns to towns through large expanses of road where you can get up to speed, but not all of these roads are in the best shape. And you've got a lot of people trying to push for better roads, but at the same time, you got places that just can't support it. So with 1920s coming, those are the first boom years for the automobile. So 1910, 2 years before the authorization of the Lincoln Highway, the United States that's 1910, had 180,000 registered automobiles in the United States. I mean, there's at least that many just in the state I'm at, obviously. Eddie's back!
Yeah, for a minute anyway. We'll see.
So if you go back to 1910, and then the following decade into the 1920s, they had 180,000 registered automobiles, and they gained an additional 17 million cars, trucks, and buses to America's motor fleet. That's a bit of a jump. And with that, people said, hey, we need roads, and we need ways to get from point A to point B. And they want improved roads. They want, safer roads. They want infrastructure along the way for gas stations, lodging. They want it all. And while big business has its place to step in and help, it really took the government to step in and go, all right, we'll get you the thoroughfare. And that became the birth of Route 66. All right, so skipping ahead a little bit, if you jump to 1926, in 1926, two very important things happened. The first was the creation of Route 66, obviously, the official, we're doing this. The other was the first year for General Motors' new Pontiac division. Even though Oakland was there and they did assimilate into GM, they didn't become Pontiac until 1926. So you look, birth of the Mother Road, birth of the Pontiac. I kind of think we got a thing going on.
It's like fries and ketchup.
Pretty much. Not Canadian gravies here. We're not doing French fries and gravy. Nope. No mayonnaise on our fries.
That's weird.
So what's interesting is, even though Pontiacs were created in Michigan, there is a Pontiac town on Route 66, Pontiac, Illinois. And if you've ever been to Pontiac, Illinois, it is the home of not only a Route 66 museum, but the home of the Pontiac Oakland Museum. So if you're planning a road trip somewhere in the Midwest, you might veer off towards Pontiac, Illinois, and check out the Oakland Pontiac Museum.
I may have to do that. I honestly don't think I've ever been to Illinois.
Oh, I've been to Illinois, but I've been to the scary parts.
Chicago?
Chicago. All right. Whoa, yeah, here we go. So, Second World War caused a decline in our civilian traffic, obviously, right? Because they're not here. But it stimulated new businesses all along the Route 66 because troops and supplies were moved in between military bases. You got Fort Leonard Wood in Missouri was part of that route, and they put it upon themselves to quickly upgrade Route 66 into a divided highway just to handle all that traffic. I mean, that's pretty crazy back then. And then with that, you got restaurants popping up, you got service stations, motels. Let's be honest, the military's rolling through, that's guaranteed money. So you're going to pop up your business overnight. And they did. They legitimately had places pop up. They may have only been in business 8 to 10 years. But during that time frame, that was guaranteed money. And these businesses would pop up overnight along Route 66. And then during that time frame, you had a lot of people shifting, trying to get over to California, Oregon, Washington, all of that, because there's defense plants there. They're making all kinds of military stuff out that way. And the best way to get there, Route 66. You can go down, round, and then work your way back up. And when the war ended, what do you think happened? Huge boom, right? Everybody wanted to come back. They wanted to party, man. This was the end of World War II. This was a happy time for everybody. So cars were a big deal. People wanted to travel and celebrate, live in life because they just went through a war. So, of course, Route 66 travel increased. This was one of the most popular times for Route 66 in our history. And so now you got families out there with more income. They have better leisure time available. And the old Great American Road Trip occurred. Hence the Mother Road, getting you from point A to point B. And where are you going to go? You're going to go to Grand Canyon. You're going to go to the beaches of California. And of course, by that point, we had Disneyland. Who doesn't want to go to Disneyland? Maybe not now, but then for sure. That was a big deal back then. And wasn't there a song? Did you mention that Bobby Troop's song, Route 66?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That was huge in the 60s.
Oh, yeah.
And so if you're, a bopper listening to the radio or your latest 45 and it comes out with Route 66 song, it just builds that nostalgia and that desire to get out and experience that. And you can't do it sitting at home listening to the radio. You got to get out in the car and go do it. And if you had the right car, you could listen to the radio and your 45 because they'd have a record player that popped out.
And if you had an old Cadillac, you could also have a hot dog cooker in the glove box while you're listening to your 45.
Yep. Because who doesn't want to get to their destination with a nice toasty hot dog waiting for them?
I'm just saying, there's some crazy stuff that they tried in the 40s, 50s, 60s in cars to try to sell cars. It's wild.
I actually think Dalton from Pole Barn Garage has a hot dog cooker.
Really?
And I think it utilized electricity to cook the hot dog.
Now,
I don't know. I'll have to check with him to see which one he has. But he's got an old hot dog cooker for sure.
I ran heavy equipment for a few years, and we used to just wrap our burritos in aluminum foil and stick it on the turbo manifold, make 2 passes. When you got back, you had a nice cooked burrito.
So living in Alaska, if you ride your snow machine, you guys call them snowmobiles, but we call them snow machines. They had a big metal tray under the engine compartment. So you pop the hood, you open that metal tray, and you put wrapped, they call them a hot dog cooker, but you wrap up whatever you want. Like you said, burritos, you could put anything in there. Wrap it up in foil or whatever, throw it in that thing, snap it down, close your lid, go drive 100 miles on the snow and ice. And when you get to where you're going, you pop it open, you got a hot meal ready to go.
Genius.
Yep. Especially when it's cold out. There's nothing better than a hot meal. All right, so skipping ahead, here's where the beginning of the end happened. And I think you guys know you can still travel the likeness of Route 66 across the U.S. by following I-44. However, if you really want to kind of get like if you're a real history buff and you really kind of like me, you kind of nerd out on this stuff, just venture off. You'll find the signs. It'll tell you historic or original. It'll even tell you what years of Route 66 you're on. You could
And then,
venture off that interstate. Some places it is parallel, but some places you got to kind of wind off that road to get to where your Route 66 used to be.
and then you'll see the Route 66 byway, or the scenic byway, or the Route 66, like where it goes through Joplin. I don't remember what they call it. I don't remember what they call it, but when it goes through town, we have signs. And if you're on Route 66, you will know it because it'll have that sign everywhere.
Yep. And here's what I want to say. So it for movement of traffic and goods, obviously 4-lane interstate had to occur. We got to all admit that it had to occur. It sucks to lose the mother road the way that it was. But the mindset is we already got the infrastructure there. We're just going to go ahead and just glob on top of it. We're going to just bulldoze what's there and straighten it out, widen it out, and go right through where it already went through. I get it. But now you kind of fast forward, you're like, well, but now we've lost the whole nostalgia. The whole reason behind it was to connect the communities, not bypass them. So when you really look back, because the 50s and 60s were huge for Route 66. And then when President Eisenhower took over, he, of course, saw overseas what the Autobahn did for Germany. And he said, with the Federal Highway Aid Act in 1956, he says, we're going to do that, but we're going to do it in the U.S. Now, of course, we have speed limits, but the idea was we're going to just fly through. We're not going to slow down. We're just going to just keep going, point A to point B. And so by 1972, I-44 replaced 66 slowly throughout the entire U.S. And by, 1984, the last portion of Route 66 was bypassed in 84. And they officially decommissioned Route 66 by 1985. So, of course, what did that do? It killed the towns. It killed all the businesses. Everything that was along the mother road just died. And I saw that on my trip last year. I'm driving through these towns in New Mexico and Arizona, and you go through the towns where the original Route 66 went, and they had motels, gas stations, service stations, restaurants. Some of them were still alive, but most of them were just facades. That's all that was left. And there were newer 80s gas stations, not just the 50s and 60s style. They had newer 80s gas stations with 15 pumps out front, and they're all decommissioned.
So we actually stopped at a old Route 66 gas station. Well, no, that wasn't Route 66, was it?
For us? That was Route 66.
Okay. Yeah, it was. Okay. I didn't go inside, but you did.
I did. Yes, that is a Route 66, kind of like a roadhouse type thing. But it had a gas station. It had a little like a little store inside. It's obviously not much of anything now, but it's in my video. You can see it. He's trying to restore it back to what it was. It was a place for you to get rest, a little bit of comfort, some food and some fuel, and then back on the road.
Yeah, because back then, and still, actually, some of my favorite places to eat, I don't know about you, is I love stopping at little roadside diners. They
are the best, and they serve the best food. They're really friendly. The food's amazing. And honestly, where else are you going to find a $6 cheeseburger and fries? Like, they still only charge $6, $7, $8. You can go to McDonald's and get one, but it's McDonald's. Like, who really wants to eat at McDonald's? When you can get this guy behind the little window serving you some kind of fat burger that's probably going to give you a heart attack, but man, it's going to be good. Huh. So yeah, basically, guys, by the 80s, Route 66 went away. but it still exists. And I encourage anyone that has the funds, the means, even a cool car to drive. Heck, I don't care if you drive your Honda Civic. Get out there and just, if you can just explore your part of the world, get out and go see Route 66. And I'm telling you, I'm a Pontiac guy, obviously. I'm a any car guy, but especially if I got my 63 rolling on the highway, there's going to be nothing better than all the windows down cruising Route 66. That's just to see all the historic stuff along the way. You've got the Jackrabbit, the Twin Arrows. You've got the Cadillac Ranch. I mean, you guys got so much there in Missouri. You got the Blue Whale down in Oklahoma. You got Tulsa, Oklahoma. You got what's the big guy in Oklahoma City with the big
Oh,
the oil guy, right?
yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah, he looks like a Paul Bunyan character, but so much to see. And I'm telling you, even if you took a week-long trip and just explored a small section, you wouldn't see it all.
So there's actually people, and I've watched. I don't remember what the YouTube channel is, but they came over from like England, I think,
Yeah.
and did the whole Route 66 tour, and it was really cool.
There's a whole industry that will support people doing that exact thing, including guys that will rent you a classic car to drive on Route 66. I'm telling you, that is the niche business to have. You get someone from overseas. I'm not saying you throw them a really bad price or anything, but you can charge them a little extra than, let's say, Hertz Rent-A-Car to drive like a classic 55 Chevy or whatever, and they can drive it along Route 66. Shane Lynn, you are correct. Thanks for joining in the chat. Cars and trucks used to both be art and functional. And yes, guys right here in this chat are trying to still do that, even with modern stuff. But the truth of the matter is, the people that designed them loved them, and the people that drove them loved them. And you put them on the roads, and you fell in love with them again. The feel of the road on the steering wheel, through the tires, just there's nothing like it. And I got to tell you, I love modern AC, especially in the Kansas heat. But something about rolling down the window and getting yourself, a farmer's tan, sticking your arm out the window. That's a good day.
I don't know if a lot of people know this, but most of your new cars, if not all of them, they don't even have a steering shaft connected from the steering wheel to the steering box.
It's all
electronic.
You're using potentiometers to tell you where the wheel is, and then it tells the steering wheel or the steering rack what to do.
So you don't get that feedback like you do in my car or your old Pontiac.
Thank you, 47. You're right. Golden Driller right there.
Yeah.
He knew, and I appreciate that. I've seen him, but I couldn't remember, and I feel really bad that I didn't know. Justin Hill, welcome to the chat. I'm sorry I missed you earlier. Burnt Finger Garage. Look at that. Ran the Route 66 in a Roadrunner. That's a good trip right there.
Have you ever been to Cadillac Ranch, Buff?
I have multiple times. I love Cadillac Ranch, but they also have the Bug Ranch, which is just a little down the way, and it's VW Beetles. And then they've got some really cool, obviously all of Amarillo has some cool stuff, but they've got an RV museum. They got a car museum. They, of course, got, the steakhouse that you can go get this massive steak and eat it in so many minutes and get it free, which very few people ever do. They just get a heart attack and go to the hospital. But I want to tell everybody, think about it. We are now May 2023. In just a few years, we're hitting the Centennial Route 66 in 2026. We should organize, and I know everybody's going to do this, right? Everybody's going to organize some kind of rally, but why not this family? We're an extended family, not just no-name folks. We're all lovers of cars, Pontiacs, Chevys, Fords, Dodge, whatever. We love them all. We got to come together in 2026 and get out on Route 66. It just needs to happen.
I got one from. I challenge everybody to do this. If you got time, skip the interstate. Take a little 2-lane blacktop. Take a little time getting there. Stop in your small town. Support them small businesses. Eat at the small diners. Help our little towns stay alive.
Exactly. And that's huge, because not only are you giving back to those local businesses, you're experiencing a piece of nostalgia, even if it's a newer owner, or even the buildings have been redone. You're still experiencing what people would have experienced back then, because you're not pulling off and going to the Arby's or the McDonald's or the travel center. You're actually getting off the interstate and venturing through the town and seeing the town. And if you take just a minute to look, you're going to see so many things you never saw before. And I got to tell you, I've been doing it over the last year, and it's so much more fun to venture through the town if you got the few extra minutes, because we really all have the extra minutes. When people say I don't have time, what they're really saying is I'm not going to make time.
Right.
Make the time. Put it in your route. Okay, it takes 2 hours by interstate. It's going to take this much longer because I'm going to pull off and do other stuff. Just add that in. Don't try to beat what's the old map quest, right? We're not going to try to beat the map quest. We're going to purposefully take our time and go around. Look at this. Wolfpack Garage right there, buddy. Get out there. Route 66, green vintage GMC motorhome. I saw 3 of them on the way home today. The old GMCs with the front wheel drive system. I think those had a Tornado type of setup.
I mean, there's so much cool stuff out there. I'm weird though. Yes.
I've stayed in the teepees that auto salvage. So there is one in California, but there's another one in Holbrook, Arizona, which is considered the original. I have stayed in the teepee. I have video of it. It's just not on my channel, but I have video of staying in those teepees, and they are amazing because every single teepee in the whole place comes with its own vintage car parked right in front of it. So you can park your modern Honda CRV right next to it, but they have a Pontiac, they have GMC, they have a pickup, they have a Bug, they have all kinds of stuff, but every single one has a vintage car sitting in front of it. There you go. Wolfpack knows. 455 olds in that GMC. Oh, wait. We're running out of time. Hold on one second. Stand by.
No.
Stand by. Where'd it go? Oh, man. I thought I was going to miss it. And I saw Jay in here. I did not see if he's doing Cars and Cussing tonight. So Jay, if you're still here, chime in and make sure we know you're going to be there, because I'll try to send everybody over to you when it's done. Because most of the time, Jay from Irish Outlaw Garage will do Cars and Cussing right after us. But as always, we try to end our show with Pontiac trivia. We're sponsored by Super Clean. This week's prize, we're just going to give it to Punisher because he ran out. But if somebody else is exceptional in the chat, we'll get you one too. And yes, I know there's people in the chat that's saying, "Hey, where's mine? Because you still owe me." It's coming. I'm juggling my representatives. They kind of change every month or so. And I talked to the one guy, and they didn't talk to this one, and it's coming. I promise you. Super Clean's got a lot of business going out and almost zero money coming in from us. So we appreciate the fact that they even have us on their radar.
Right.
All right, guys. Here's the first question. Put your answer in the chat. We talked about Lieutenant Edward Fitzgerald Beale. What else was he instrumental in? Was it A, establishing border relations with Canada, the creation of Fort, I think it's Tejon, the funding of Pensacola Dam, or the blocking of government funding to native tribes?
I don't know this.
Colleen Tebow says something should win. Well, if something puts something good in the answers, we'll see what he can do. Look at that. We got Ugly Truck Experience in the house. Welcome, guys. I see Brent from Mongrel's Garage in the house. He says the funding of Pensacola Dam. Ugly Truck says establishing border relations with Canada. The guy was pretty talented. Oh, look at that. Hunter says the dam. Mohawk says Canada. 6% said changing the zoning laws in Buffstown. You know, I got to tell you, somebody had the best suggestion today, and we're going to run with it. You're going to see a social media campaign that's going to be Brian Vantana running in 2024. And we're going to do posters. We're going to do the whole thing. And you're going to see Brian Vantana running for election 2024. 38 POS. I know I missed you earlier, but there you are. So welcome. All right. Shane Lynn says B. All right. Let's see who else we got. One Eyed Cat says C. We got A. Mongrels is all in on Brian Vantana running. I'm telling you, I've watched some pretty funny election stuff. So living in Alaska, we had a sense of humor. The entire state had a great sense of humor. And the state thought it would be funny for the state of Alaska citizens to name the next Alaska ferry to come into commission. So they commissioned this new ferry and they said, we just need the name for it. They had all these names that were submitted. And believe it or not, out of all the names, there was a lot of historical ones that actually made the final cut. But in the end, what would you think an Alaska ferry should be named? Because the winner that did not actually get put on the side of the boat, and I'm not even kidding you, the winner of the Alaska ferry naming contest was Bodie McBoatface. And they legit said, well, we're not going to name it that. But it won Bodie McBoatface. Oh, Mongrels, it's not the county, it's the city. But let me just add to that. In Alaska, there was no counties and everyone was happy. So if your state has counties, I'm sorry. That sucks.
Yeah, but in Alaska, everybody lives in one place.
No, they don't. They just don't live near anyone else. It's 2.5 hours to the next town. All right, so everybody kind of put their answers in. Edward Beale, excellent man, lieutenant, Navy, just did all kinds of great things for our nation. In the end, he was instrumental in the creation of Fort Tejon. And he pushed for it because what he wanted to do, believe it or not, was to protect and control the Indians who were living in the Sebastian Indian Reservation. So not just to control them, he was trying to keep them from getting pushed out and obviously slaughtered. That was his goal. So he put this military fort next to him, which then kind of inadvertently protected that entire tribe. Now, I'm sure somebody's going to tell me atrocities later, but reality was he did a lot to protect the natives in that area. He befriended a lot of them when he was out there. Two babes, that's right. I was in Valdez, Alaska, and I don't miss the snow. All right, so next question before we run out of time. Oh, we're already out of time, but too late. You're going to get the next question anyway. Just outside of Laguna, New Mexico, on Route 66 is a well-known feature called what? Is it A, Dead Man's Curve, B, Silver Streak? Whoa, why did those still get put in there? I had other names in there. Well, either way, it's the only one that's been changed. It's Dead Man's Curve. So, yes, We've heard of the one in California. We've heard of the one in Illinois. We've heard of the one in Missouri. But the reality is the original Dead Man's Curve still exists and is still roadworthy between Laguna and Mesita, New Mexico. And basically, it's not a curve. It's a basic U-turn in the middle of the roadway going 20 miles an hour or less. If you're in a big truck, you're going less than 20 miles an hour.
I take that challenge.
All right. In a turbocharged Le Mans, drifting it, I bet you could go faster.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys, I messed that one up. Don't hold that one against me. It was a busy day. Thanks, Mohawk, for popping in.
Have a good night, buddy.
All right, we got a couple more. I know we're running long, but oh, look at that. We had an armory in Valdez, coldest I've ever been. So I've been colder. in Fairbanks, and actually a little further north, for Chena Hot Springs. It was negative 60, and I was in a 110-degree hot spring, and there's icicles coming off my hair. But Valdez was plenty cold, 30 feet of snow a year, and it didn't melt off. It was there all year.
Nope. Good.
All right, so here we go. Along Route 66, along Route 66, what is considered to be the first known fast food drive-through? Who owned it? Was it Dairy King? Was it Big Boy, Bob's Pantry, A&W, or Red's Giant Hamburger? Nope, Hamburg, not hamburger, Hamburg.
I'm not for sure, but I'm going to go with C.
All right. Mongrel says B, Big Boy. Heaven says C. Two Babe Jenkins says C. Is everyone in? Well, I know Hunter's not, but is everyone else pretty much old enough to remember A&W? Because they still kind of have them, but we're talking the old kind. Like now, Sonic is the same type of setup as the old A&Ws were. They had car hops, and they would roll out in their roller skates and the whole deal. Oh, look at Ugly Truck with the D. We got ASO with Dairy King. Have you seen many Dairy Kings in Missouri?
Mm-mm.
I saw one yesterday in Oklahoma.
We used to have a Dairy Castle in Arma.
Yep. Wolfpack's got one in Wisconsin. I remember they had a bear for a mascot for a bit. And yes, if you go to A&W, even today, they'll still sell you a Frosty mug. There's Lars. He was just hanging. He was lurking in the chat.
He was sleeping under a vehicle.
All right, guys. The answer is Red's Giant Hamburg. And the reason why it's such a funny name is because he built a huge sign that said Giant and Hamburger. But then when he went to actually mount it in front of his store, he found that the sign interacted with the power poles. So he cut the last two letters off, and that became Giant Hamburg. But he has the first drive-through attributed to Route 66.
Well, the hamburger came from Hamburg, Germany, so.
There you go. Now, Kansas question. And Ray's kind of already given a little bit out. But how many miles does Route 66 travel through the state of Kansas? Is it 100.1 miles? Is it 53.2 miles? Is it 12.8 miles? Or is it 2 miles? And bonus points if you know the name of the towns that it goes through. All right, these guys are already on the. Okay, Two Babe says 8. Hunter says 53.2. ASO says the same. One Eyed Cat says 100. Two Babe says B. Tony says B. Now, Tony, you live here. Tony lives in Kansas. He should know this answer. Fox says all of them. That's right. Every single town that road goes through, they're there. Two Babe Jenkins back with the B again. He is just insistent on the B. Shane Lynn says B. 6% says B. Mongrel says C. And he's from Canada, folks. Oh, look at Tony. All right. He may not know the miles, but he got Baxter Springs and Galena. What's the other town, Tony? Jason says C. Heavens Mopar. Scott with an S says C. Well, since we have definitely ran over our time, let's skip to the end. That is 12.8 miraculous miles through Canada. Not even 13 miles. But it's Galena, just like Tony said, Baxter Springs, and Riverton. Can't forget Riverton. Mongrels is right. Riverton. That is correct. It is about that big. And if you blink, you'll miss it. But it is there. Galena Springs, not quite. Galena, Baxter Springs, and Riverton. And really, you can kind of just hit them all just real quick. Yeah. Galena's the really, nothing against the other two. Galena's the one that really has the nostalgia when you drive through it. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap this up. Ray, do you got anything to add today?
I don't think so. Nope.
All
Like
right,
I
I
said, if you
still
guys
don't
have,
see the notification for Jay, but keep going.
like I said, get out, drive your cars, hit them 2-lane blacktops, go through them small towns. Let's keep them alive.
I mean, truly, for me, it's more than ever here lately. It's been, yeah, gas isn't the greatest right now, but I've been getting in the vehicles and driving and rolling down the windows and just enjoying every part of it. Now, when it's 105 out and the humidity's high, I may reconsider having the windows down. But for right now, it's a lot of fun. So get out there. Yep, Mongrels is right. Radiator Springs, you are not incorrect. That's a little further out west, but it's along Route 66. But with that, I'm going to say good night, everybody, and thanks for joining in. Make sure you check out the latest videos on both the channels. Support us all, and then head over to Jay at Irish Outlaw Garage and go watch Cars and Cussing tonight. We'll see
All
you
right.
guys next week.
Have a good night, y'all. Have a good weekend.